Welcome to the 2021 Teen Virtual Conference. Thank you all for joining us today. If at any point that you feel uncomfortable, please feel free to join the chill room, breakout room, which we have in the top left corner, and that'll always be open for you. And we also have a lovely therapist from Discovery Counseling Center who will be with us on hands for this conference anytime anyone wants to talk to her or want her to talk to her in the breakout room. So please do text her and let her know. All right, we're so excited to announce our first conference. Today's finally the day. We've registered to be a nonprofit organization in the government of California, and our purpose is to stimulate conversation around mental health and suicide through peer-to-peer connection and communication, which we'll be doing a lot of today. So I just want to get into why we created Not the End. Anyone who knows me knows that I've been passionate about mental health and taking away that stigma associated with it for a very long time. I've spent years dreaming about this conference and creating Not the End, and I'm beyond happy to announce that it's finally here and we're finally all here together, and that our community received it so well. I got the idea of creating Not the End in 8th grade because throughout middle school, a lot of my friends started developing mental illnesses, whether it was depression, anxiety, eating disorders, or suicidal thoughts. I'm not going to share someone else's story because that is completely up to them and it's deeply personal. However, I will share the story from my point of view and how I felt throughout this. At the time, I had absolutely no idea how to help them because I couldn't relate to what they were going through. At the time, it was really scary for everyone involved, especially because up till that point, I had no idea what a mental illness was and had never heard of it before. I tried finding more information on Google, like any teenager, and realized that the best thing I could do was to just sit there and listen to them as a friend. Unfortunately, the things they were telling me about quickly got beyond the scope of what I could help with, and I realized that listening to them wouldn't change anything any longer. For a while, everything seemed all right. We laughed together, we hung out all the time, and we had made memories every single day. But that's when the 2 a.m. calls and conversations started. Before I continue, I do want to say that there are triggering subjects and mentions of suicide and self-harm coming up. So if you do feel uncomfortable, please do head out to the chill breakout room and someone will let you know when I'm done. So one day they told me about all the ways that they wanted to harm themselves on call. And I couldn't comprehend what was going through their mind, nor how to respond to such a comment. A few more calls later, and it never really seemed to get better until I finally heard them say those dreaded words. I want to die. My heart jumped out of my chest and I racked my brain thinking of everything I could do and how I could help, what the right course of action would be. They didn't want their parents to find out, and they told me not to tell any adults, so we never told anyone. It was 3 a.m. that day, and I thought of calling my parents, but I didn't feel safe leaving them alone for even a second. We talked it through a little bit, and I thought the situation was handled. I thought it went all right and everything would continue as normal. The next day on our call, I'm not sure what it really was because the entire experience was kind of a blur in my mind right now, but I really thought I was about to lose a friend if I didn't get help right now. I remember calling the National Suicide Prevention Hotline with my phone in one hand and talking to them on my laptop on Hangouts in the other. It was absolutely terrifying. I still remember what I felt that day, blaming myself for not being able to help, thinking about everything else I could have done, thinking about all the other possibilities, who I could have told, what I could do, imagining life without them. Fortunately, they're still here with us today, and they've been getting the professional help that they need with the support of their parents. Looking back at the experience, there were so many other options and choices I could have made that would have helped both of us, which you all will learn at the conference today and tomorrow, because it's so important to know and get provided those resources and everything else that we'll be teaching at this conference, because no one should ever be put in a situation where they feel like no one around them can help. There are resources available, and there are crisis centers, wellness centers, and hotlines that you can call. Now, that was my story from my point of view. I haven't shared this story to the public before, but I felt like now was the right time. This is a safe place for everyone to speak and share their stories, but and in fact, we encourage it. Sorry, that got a bit emotional and deep there, but I really did want to express why we created Not the End and why it means so much to me and the reason behind what I do, why I do what I do. It's so very important. Actually, I don't know if you noticed, but our logo is a butterfly. If so, does anyone know the significance of that? Please type in the chat. Exactly, yes. Butterflies do represent a lot of things, and yes, the suicide does have an important meaning. So personally, personally, whenever I got stressed and I got really tensed about a situation, I would draw butterflies on my arm. Now, these were pretty simple butterflies. The two bees on both sides, the circle in the middle, and that was it, because I'm not an artist. But whenever I drew those butterflies, it helped calm me down and de-stress me and really ground me into that moment and help me think outside of all that stress and how it should not be the focus of my life. The body of this butterfly is a semicolon. Now, the semicolon is used when the author could have chosen to end the sentence, but decided to continue it instead. This is a metaphor for life. So it's how someone could have chosen to end their life, but decided to continue it instead, which is exactly what Not the End is aiming to help with. It's a sign of strength, past struggles, and battles won. Actually, later today, we'll all be drawing our own suicide butterflies. And while they don't have to represent a suicide, we'll be designing the butterfly's wings and any kind of way you want to represent a struggle that you've gotten over in your own life, a battle that you've won. So before we continue, I do want to emphasize that this is a safe place. So here are the community agreements.